Hello, welcome to a new video. My name is Crox. In case you don't know me, I made a build last league that was the Ultra Tank, and I got kinda popular, so a lot of people are popping in the chat asking in English if I'm gonna do a version for the build I'm playing right now. I must say, this build is not exactly like very original build like the last one. It's an Armourstacker, in case you already know about it. This is kinda like the same there is everywhere as an Armourstacker, but I did some things to make it like well-rounded. Like it has better damage than most versions or all versions I've seen around there, and it solves like most of the problems this build has. So in case you know this already, you can skip ahead a little bit, but in case you don't know what is an Armourstacker and why it has so many problems, I'm gonna try to explain it as fast as I can because my English sucks, so I'm gonna try to be as fast as possible. Well, first of all, we're using a Dorjani's prototype. This armor let us do our lightning resistance applies to the nearby enemies. So that means if we have very low lightning resistance, so does our enemies. That's why we're going for as low as possible lightning resistance. But there comes the question, like, so what happens if you get hit by something with lightning damage? That's why we're going for armor stacking, because Dorjani's prototype also says armor applies to lightning damage taken from hits. That's very important, because if armor applies to lightning damage, we can reduce all the damage we get from lightning hits through our armor. That's why we have so much armor. This is not a bug, this is normal. We got 1.6 million armor, so we are very resilient to physical hits and lightning hits. Like, those barely do anything. We can tank like slams, elder slams, you know, the big AoE, you need to stand inside the circle. We can take that like no problem. We can take the triple hit from the Uber Elder, no problem. Uber Elder, sorry. So that's one part. But remember, I said this is very important. Armor also applies to lightning damage taken from hits. It sets hits, so lightning degen is a real issue. I always say that this build is like a fortified castle. It's very strong, very resilient against everything, but we have like a paper window. If someone enters to the paper window, we can die very quickly. That's the problem. The problem is lightning degen doesn't apply through armor like the hits. So if we get hit, or not hit, like if we suffer like a lightning degen, for example, the Shaper's Beam or the Mana Siphoner, we can die really quickly. We try to minimize that using a very high, where is it? Divergent Vitality. Divergent is not really important, but we're using Vitality level 20. Actually, we're going to level 23 because +2 from the gloves and +1 from the Ashes of the Stars. So with that, and we also using Soul of Arakali, and I should be using Soul of Shakari. Not actually Shakari, like the minor Pantheon, it doesn't really matter. I mean, Shakari may be the best one, or we can actually be using Tukohamas, because Tukohamas give us a little bit of regen. So with regen, you can fight against the degen. So it's like, I don't know, it's like armor to hits. You have a lot of armor, you get less damage from the hit. If you have a lot of regen, you get less degen. Like, it's that simple. And we don't have many things to fight against that. So that's why we have like a very huge pool of regeneration. For example, if I press my haste, you can see my regen goes up really quickly. So that's the first thing you need to know about. Second thing is how the hell we get so much armor. First of all, we're stacking a lot of armor through auras and stuff, but also we're using iron reflexes. That's why we use only evasion stuff, because you can get higher evasion than armor on items. So if we're gonna convert all evasion to armor, it's normal. It's not only normal, it's a best way to get more armor. Only use evasion stuff that later we're gonna convert to armor. That's the first thing. Also, we're using determination, we're using grace, of course, because we're gonna convert all of these. We're using also a mage blood. So I gonna get a lot of questions like, can I do this build without a mage blood? Yes, you can, but I will not recommend it, because if we take off our potions that only give us armor, we go from 1.6 to 500,000 armor. And that's okay, that's a lot of armor still. Like, you're gonna tank just well, but you lose a lot of damage. Like, only looking at the DPS, the tooltip DPS, that is not accurate at all. We go from 300k to a million. So you're losing like 70% of damage. That's a lot of damage. And you can say like, yeah, if I got like a lot of attack speed, you kill real fast and stuff, you're gonna have the flask active most of the time. So you can definitely do that, but it's gonna feel weird. So I will say at least you need a mage blood in around like 50 to 100x, depending on how hard you're gonna go for these items. So that's the first thing. Like, that's the core of the build is that. Now, I already told you, like, yeah, this build is very much like other builds. If you look in PoE Ninja, you're gonna see a lot of trees that are just like mine, right? So why this build is different? Why you should follow this guide instead of another guide? Well, this is the thing. Like, most of these builds are really starved by passives and really starved on defenses. Even though you're really resilient with armor and lightning damage, you usually also have like high fire and cold resistance. That's okay, but most builds I've seen don't have chaos resistance, also very low. Since we don't have a very good way to mitigate degen, this is really bad. I was testing the build to see how it feels, and having low chaos resistance is really bad. You're gonna die like almost instantly to like serious degen, or actually like any degen, poison damage, all of that. It's gonna be really bad. Other things I've seen there is not enough attack speed. Like, for example, I've seen some builds that have like 5 to 6 attacks per second, and you're like, well, that seems fast. But also, we are not using a movement flask, so we are not quickly in the movement department. But we can actually move really fast if we just have high attack speed. Also, that attack speed that looks like actually okay, you can see is really faster if we go with haste, with Ancestral Protector and Blood Rage. Suddenly we jump really quick. So we don't need movement speed. That's another thing I see in these builds. Other thing as well, like we go with avoid elemental elements on both rings, and we craft it on the boots and implicits. Most of the builds I've seen, they are not immune to ailments, and this link, this Arch Nemesis 2.0 link, is really awful not having immunity to ailment. And if someone is thinking about like, just get Purity of Elements, we don't want that. Why? Because that's gonna raise up our lightning resistance, and we're gonna lose a lot of damage, so we don't want that either. How can we make this immune to ailments without using that? There is two ways I find. First, I think it's possible or easy to make it. First off, just craft the rings. It's a pain to craft it, but you can do it by do bases like this. 25% avoid elemental elements. You can even go for expensive base. This base is not really expensive, if I'm honest. Like, it's like an 1x or something, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 1x and 85. There you go. 4x. It's actually went up a little bit, but 4x for the base, and you don't need like 85. You can go for 84, and there is 4, 5x, 10x. Alright, it's actually getting expensive. I bought it for like 1 or 2. But if you don't want like perfect tier 1 resist, you can even go for like 81, and that's it. 1x or 2x rings. Really cheap. You can go for even better rings if you find with several implicit, like avoid elements plus, I don't know, like life or elemental damage or something like that, you can get even expensive. But that's on you if you want to go that route. So bot rings plus the boots. That's the way I think it's the easy way to get elemental immunity. But you can also like get some immunity, for example, with Arctic Armor, with Temporal Rift that gives you also immunity to some curses. You can get immunity to... You can just rely on this for Corrupted Blood and Bleeding immunity. There is many things you can do to get some immunities, but all of them is gonna be really hard. At least you do this. If you think in another way to do it, feel free to comment. I'm all ears or all eyes to see your comment. I'm always looking for ways to improve this build or next builds. So that's one thing, right? We're talking about the defenses of the build. Also, we're going for immunity to curses. That's thanks to the Mage Blood. Immunity to curses. If you have 52% with 70% effect and 25% increase effect, that brings you over 100. So you are immune to curses. But you're actually not immune to curses. You can get affected by curses, but it has no effect on you. So that's... In this build, it doesn't matter, but some builds, you want to get the curses, but not suffer the bad things that come with the curse. So that's one thing. We're talking about attack speed because we want to be fast. We're talking about defenses. Already told you, 90% fire, 90% cold, 70% 5 chaos resistance, and the armor really high to cover the layer resistance and the physical damage. And we have a really good life regen, 700 life regen. That's not counting life leech. And also, I actually don't use adrenaline, like not on purpose. You can do it. You can use adrenaline. You can just push this button like 3 times, 4 times. There you go, 4 times, and you have adrenaline. You can do it whenever you want and get the super high extra damage. But I don't really use it. I just wait, like if something hits you hard, adrenaline kicks in and you have 25% extra life. That's really cool. Another layer of defense. Of course, Fortitude with fortification, permanent minus 25% less damage from hits. Really cool. And I think that's all the... Oh, of course, I bought this for like 40 or 50x because I was tired of trying to corrupt jewels to get the Corrupted Blood, so I just bought it. But you don't need it. You can just live with Adamant. Adamant takes off the Corrupted Blood and the bleeding when you use a guard skill. You can use it on first click, or you can use it on demand and just take off the Corrupted Blood because we have a lot of regen and the adrenaline. You won't die like, oh, I just didn't see it because it was really quick, the Corrupted Blood. Yeah, that won't happen because you have a lot of regen. You're gonna see your life like going down, but slowly, and you're gonna realize, oh wait, I have Corrupted Blood. So just use this and you take it off, and the regen will push you to the max. So there we go. We got like Corrupted Blood immunity, bleed immunity here. Also, immunity, not really, we can take it off, but we don't want immunity. We have nice regen, we have high armor, and the bleed is always based on the hit that inflicts the bleeding. So we don't care about that. Bleeding does absolutely nothing. And what are I missing? I think I'm missing something here. Yeah, I don't remember, so I'm gonna guess I'm not missing anything. So that's the defenses of the build. So now the damage. I don't think I need to speak a lot about that because the intro, the showcase of the build speaks for itself. Like the damage is through the roof. We're going for over 100 million damage. And that 100 million, I need to explain it because there are gonna be people saying like, yeah, that won't happen actually. But yeah, it's easy to happen. Like Frenzy Charge, you're gonna have it. How? Because you have Blood Rage. Blood Rage Anomalous gives you 7% chance to gain a frenzy charge on hit. How we get there? With Enhance and the Ashes of the Stars. That's why it's so high. Normally it's 2% only. 70% with, I think it's 14 attacks per second. 14 attack per second. Yeah, you're gonna get it in less than a second. You have the 3 frenzy charge. 4 frenzy charges. Also, life tap. This doesn't do anything, but you're gonna have life tap because because of the haste. So you get life tap, but it doesn't do anything. What else? You have Fortify. You're always fortified. You have Adrenaline. This is the thing you can decide to use or not. For Invitation, where you have like a setup time, you can use it. If not, you go to 95%, 95 million damage. 95 is quite enough. Even if you fight without the Adrenaline, you can do it. 95 million damage is a lot of damage. Also, I'm not totaling leeching, but you actually you get like hit a bit, so your life won't be at full HP, but you're gonna be leeching. If you leech, 4 million damage plus the 102. So I'm not talking leech because in case you're killed too fast and you're never leech. Have you hit recently with your weapon? Of course you had. Of course, like, yeah, you're hitting. So that's the thing. Enemy shield, yes, because we're using skitterbots. So it's shield, it's shock, and it's intimidated. How is intimidated? Because we had first to strike, last to fall. You hit permanently. Intimidate enemies that are on full life. Sorry, I just completely butchered that phrase. I'm gonna try again. Your hits permanently intimidate enemies that are on full life. There you go. A bit better. Still cringe, sorry about it. But there you go. At least I did better. So that's the whole damage. That's all damage. And if you say like, what's the worst case scenario? Well, you don't have frenzy, you don't have adrenaline, what else? That's the worst scenario. It's 78 million damage. You don't have haste. You don't have ball haste. You don't have haste. 50 million damage in the worst case scenario. But haste, you're gonna have it. Ball haste, remember, because now you get charges when you hit a unique enemy, you're gonna have ball haste. In most of the clips, if you see showcase again, I get like ball haste after like a couple seconds, 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds, you have ball haste and you use it. And it lasts for 4 seconds, like nothing lives through 4 seconds of DPS of this build. Like, it doesn't happen. That's why I have ball haste active. But you can take it off. You can say, yeah, that's kind of bullshit. Maybe you don't have it. All right, that's okay. So we're gonna have like the things we control. This is what we control. 82 million damage for sure. Ball haste is what pushes through the extra 20 million damage. So that's the damage of the build, where it comes from. It comes from Phantasmal Smite. It's really important because the aura is going to give you attack speed, and we are stacking a lot of out effect we're going to show later. Awakening Multi-Strike, we're using Awaken Elemental Focus because we are already shocking with skitterbots, so we don't care about shocking. Awaken Elemental Damage with attack support, really good because we don't take elemental reflected damage. That's really cool. We can kill like Uber at Siri or everything with reflect. Just be careful with your lip slam, because if your lip slam on top of something, you're gonna die. Lip slam hits actually really hard. And it's full elemental damage, lightning damage. Ruthless support, I actually wanted to change this to another thing, but it turns out if you hit really fast, since the Ruthless is always 0.8 seconds, you can almost like permastun some enemies. Like bosses, you cannot permastun because they have like an internal cooldown to get stunned, but it is really, really noticeable. It's really good. Like, I'm starting to love this support, Ruthless support with a lot of attack speed. It's awesome. And Inspiration support to make it low cost, only 2 mana cost. And of course, the inspiration charges that gives you a lot of damage as well. So there you go. Also, like, this is our attack speed. Normally, it's fast, but not fast enough. If we turn off everything, that's our attack speed without Ball Haste and Frenzy. What else? Oh, also Divergent Determination, Grace, Anomalous Wrath. That's also damage. Why? Because we're using Replica Dream Feather. Dream Feather gives you increased attack damage per 450 armor. So you can make the math. I won't do it. 1.6 million. That's a lot of damage. That's why we're also pushing the armor as high as possible. The Divergent is important. Yes, it's very important. Also, it's better 2020 Divergent Determination instead of 21-0 normal Determination. It's just better. So yeah, it's worth the extra money. The Grace, there is nothing actually good with Grace, so just a 21 normal. Anomalous Wrath, it's if you get the Anomalous, good for you. The normal version 21, it's okay. There is not much difference, like 1% or 2% more damage. Doesn't really matter. The helmet, I'm gonna talk about how you craft this in a second. Ashes of the Stars, nothing to say here, it's just an ashes. Don't need to be perfect with increased experience of gain of gems. You don't need that, but you definitely need the 20% and 30% of the other two mods. Just buy a cheap one and throw some divines, it's not that hard. The rings, really nothing to say here. I just throw some essences there. I throw the Dread Essence, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, the Dread Essence that gives you 300 armor to rings. I just throw it here and got lucky with tier 1 life, tier 1 fist. After that, Prefix cannot be changed. Reforged Chaos until I got tier 1. It took me like 4 or 5 tries. You don't need to go as hard as I went. You can go for like tier 2 or even tier 3 chaos. That may be enough to cap your resist or get chaos in other places. You can definitely do that. And the other ring I craft with essence. I don't remember the intelligence essence. Oh, this one, Spite. I just threw some Spite essence there and waited for some resistance. It doesn't matter which resistance. If you get light in tier 1, that's good because you can harvest change it to other thing. And after that, you guessed it, Suffix cannot be changed, Reforged Chaos, and you fix the last slot. Also, if you get like double high resistance, that might be okay, and you get chaos resistance elsewhere. After that, Suffix cannot be changed again, Veiled Chaos, pray for max life. You can block something, I don't remember what to block. I think, the damage, the mixed damage, the fire and lightning damage, or fire and cold, block some of that, and you can get, you have high chance to get max life. That's how I get it. The boots, normal boots, literally just bought it just like this, and I fixed the implicits. Really cheap boots. You can also like craft yourself if you want. Where are you looking here? High life, high resistance, and in one suffix open, really important. And of course, the highest evasion you can get. I got almost 600. Also remember, you can use these orbs, the sacred orb rolls the evasion rating. For example, I have 234. You can go from 220 to 253. I actually can squeeze like 20 more evasion here, and that's base evasion, so it gets multiplied by the increased evasion and all of that. You can actually do it. These are kind of expensive, like half an X each orb, but sometimes you get something like 400 evasion, but it's the worst roll. It's 220, so you can just buy one of these, and whatever you get is gonna be better than when you buy it. So really a nice tip there in case you don't know it. And finally, the jewel of the build, the gloves. The gloves are like wasted on the build, I'm gonna be honest. Like the increased damage with hits against shield enemies, it does nothing, okay? I thought it did, and I craft the gloves, and actually doesn't do anything. Like, for example, if I take it out, if I take it out, oh wow, I'm losing 0.6% damage. Just don't do it. Don't get this. Don't do it. It sucks. It completely sucks. Like something better will be like Cooling Strike, but if you get Cooling Strike, you don't get the Strike 2 additional nearby enemies. So I prefer to lose Cooling Strike and get the implicits. Yeah, gloves like almost the same as the boots. You just want the in case of the gloves, you want Enlighten actually. You want Enlighten, and this gets a little bit tricky. I bought Enlighten with the suffix and nothing else. So I went for prefix cannot be changed. No, I actually went for, in case you want to replicate this, which I do not recommend because it's not worth it, you can go for can have multiple, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers, prefix cannot be changed, and suffix cannot be changed. That way you get suffix fall because you have the temple mod, the can have up to 3, that's a suffix as well, and the prefix cannot be changed, that's a suffix as well. 3 suffixes, it's fall. And the prefixes, you have the suffixes cannot be changed, and 1 mod left. So you use a Veiled Chaos Orb, and the only outcome is just to add the Veiled mod without changing anything. After doing that, I removed that. I blocked something. I don't remember what did I block. I actually wanted to hit the physical converted to lighting mod, but I failed, and I got the EOE gems, which is actually nice. It looks good, and I can sell this later. So it's a good mod to have. You can get that. You can get the EOE or the Feast mod, or you can get the Life mod and then craft the EOE. That's also another way of doing it. So you have a lot of flexibility with this. The Enlighten mod is if you want to push it really hard, you can do it, or you can not get the Enlighten mod and just Divergent Vitality. Instead of being level 20, it's gonna drop for like level 10 or level 8, and that's the only difference. You make your choice. Instead, if you don't feel comfortable crafting, just get a normal pair of gloves, much better than the ones I have, and with evasion, life, resistance, that kind of thing, and forget about it. Just lose some levels on vitality. That's it. It's not a big deal actually. So that's the build, and the last thing is the helmet. The helmet I have here. Just like take a screenshot, post the video. That's the way I do it. I'm gonna tell it really quick in case I fucked up something here. Like you need 2 helmets, 1 lion bolt, lion pelt, and you're gonna get 1 deafening essence of loading and 1 deafening, or actually essence of delirium, because delirium has no deafening. So one of them is gonna give you increased mana reservation, that's the loading, and the other one is gonna give you aura gems. You recombinate and hope for the best. After that, you're gonna get like double suffix, and the prefixes doesn't matter. Suffix cannot be changed. Reforged Chaos for the chaos resistance. You might get something there that it's good enough, so you just keep that. And after that, you go suffix cannot be changed again, Veiled Chaos, block minions, and pray for the +2. The +2 in this case is really important. So you get the +2, you craft life, you throw an Exile there and hope for the best. I got tier 4 increased evasion, like it looks ugly. I almost went again and tried to annul that, but I said, you know, fuck it, that's it. That's the helmet. So that's how I make my helmet. Now the tree, we want 5 gems of introspection, 5 introspection, and you want cold resistance and fire resistance because we are really tight with those resistance. Actually, I went a bit far on the fire resist, but if you build it in the smart way and not the stupid way that I was doing it, you're gonna be more efficient with your resources. So remember, if you get like a gem like this, but it says a light resistance instead of cold, don't panic. Just harvest, change it from lighting to cold or from lighting to fire or whatever, and there you have a gem. You can also craft this yourself. I actually did craft myself all the introspection jewels except for one I bought. But it's kinda expensive because of other armor stacking builds. So yeah, it's gonna be 2-3x, but with bad rolls probably. So you can just craft yourself. It's not that big of a deal, and you can sell the things that you don't like. It actually sells really quick. There's a lot of people looking for introspection, not just in this build. Now, the large cluster jewels, the best jewel is martial prowess, combat rhythm, and martial momentum. Why? Because martial momentum pushed the other two here. So that's the best jewel actually. I got two of those, and the introspection is the same everywhere. And the last one, we go for Insatiable Killer, Pit the Fury, and Martial Prowess. There is a other combination I don't remember that is like almost the same thing about as this one, but you do you, whatever you want. What are we? What are we looking here is Fit the Fury, or the other one that gives you Leech. That's what we want here. We want Leech. So I don't care what this mod is. You can get another thing. I found this. This is actually cheap, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 100 chaos. Yeah, it's really cheap. I got it with some resist. It doesn't have to be cold. Remember that. It can be lighting or fire, and just swap it, or chaos resistance even. Another introspection, and we have an impossible escape here in chaos inoculation. That's the expensive one, but we get arching blows, we get restoration efficiency, we get influence, and we get auto effects. So it's really good. We actually wasting Whisper of Doom because we have no curses on this build, because we are really socket starved. Also, we're using elemental overload and lighting mastery, so our lighting damage that is not critical is lucky. We have like 20% or less than 20% chance to crit, so most of our hits are normal. That's why we're using this, and this is a huge damage multiplier for our build. What else I'm forgetting to explain? Oh, watch your side. We're using penetration, wrath penetration. That's the best damage we can get on the build, and the other mod can be whatever you want. I always fear crit hits, because sometimes you die in PoE and you see the crit mod and you say to yourself, yeah, it's probably because I got crit. I got crit by something and that killed me. That's why I always go with reduced crit damage. You can also get another thing and maybe just get the 30% reduced extra damage from criticals. That's another way to do it. And the Thread of Hope, I already showed this, but you want in minus 20% elemental resistance. That way, you reduce layer resistance even further and get more damage. With this, we're getting these two nodes and Soul of Steel. You can also get Berserking, that gives you a little bit of attack speed, but that's too much for me. Like, if I get 2 more levels to be level 100, I will go for Life and Armor, and probably just get the 30% less crit damage and change the Watcher side or something. I don't know. That's probably what I will do. And finally, the Brutal Restraint. What do we want here? First of all, Brutal Restraint gives you a lot of dexterity that we need on the build. Like, most of the dexterity, if I take this, we lose like 60 dexterity, so we need it. The other thing we're looking for here is these modifiers. Increase effect of non-curse auras from your skills. It has to be here? No, it does not. You can get the effect of non-curse auras whatever you want. And have one here and one here. That's actually like kind of bad jewel, to be honest. You can get something much better buying it in TFT or something, but I hate doing that, so I just bought something, I threw some divines, and waited for the best. So I got this, and some dexterity, I guess. Yeah, some dexterity here. This 20 dexterity helps. but nothing else. Global accuracy, yeah, kinda okay, but nothing else. The percentage dexterity does absolutely nothing. Oh, some note that I was thinking of taking is Dervish, in case I get something really good here. Something really good here that will be like chance to double damage. I don't remember if that rolls in this or the other one. And the effect of non-curse hours, of course. Why that effect is so good? Because we have like many hours. We currently have like 8 hours, and especially the determination and grace rolls really high, because that flat number and the percentage number gets multiplied with all the effect of the aura. So goes up to the roof and gives you so much. Like if I turn off, for example, grace, I got from 1.6 to 500,000. I get 1 million armor with one aura, and the determination is almost the same. It's insane the amount of armor I can get from those two auras. It's way too good. So the effect is really important. You actually don't need 2. With 1 is that's okay to start, but 2 or even 3, that will be the dream there. I think that's the whole build. I don't think I forgot about anything. Like the flask, we get, of course, evasion and armor and attack speed. Effect of curses. You can lose the granite flask, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can lose the granite flask and put like a quicksilver flask in case you say like, yeah, I prefer the moving speed. You're not losing a lot of damage. It's like 5 million damage or something, and you're gonna be really fast. Actually, I have one here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can do this, and suddenly you are much faster. In case you say, you know, I prefer to move instead of using leap, that's your thing, you can do it. Last thing, I just remember, the enchant Measured with Fortify effect. You can farm that yourself. Usually what I do is gather some of the viewers, some of my friends, and just run the lab, and if someone gets it, they give me the enchant, and I trade my enchant to them. That's actually what I do. I'm not sure if that's something that people do in trade 820, but be careful, you don't want to get scammed. And the enchant of the boots actually gives you a lot of damage. So yeah, it's like 6 million damage to have this enchant. I really recommend it. And the enchant on the helmet, there is 3 enchants that are really good. Smite auto effect, Defiance banner auto effect, and attack speed with the Ancestral Protector. Actually, the Ancestral Protector one is the best enchant, damage wise, it's the best enchant. So if you happen to roll or get your hands on Lion Pelt with Ancestral Protector, that's the best enchant in damage. I ran like 10 or 15 labs, and I got this one. I said, you know, that's it, that's good enough. That's like the second or third best one. I'm happy with it, no problem. The implicits, remember to have the reduced mana cost of attacks. That's why we only have 1 non-channeling skills, reduce mana, and we get like 2 mana. You don't need the Mage Blood with the Flask, sorry. The Flask with the reduced mana cost, you don't need that to have like 2 mana cost. We have absolutely no problem with mana. You can see it, like there is not even close. Even if I like using my Molten Shelter, it's not even close. There's no problem whatsoever with mana. So that's it. That's the whole build. I'm sorry if I took too long to explain it, but I like to explain like through the build like completely, so there is absolutely no doubt about what I'm doing and why I am doing that. Again, I forgot something again. The Forbidden Taste. Yeah, you can use this, or you can use a Divine Flask with whatever. Actually, the Bleed, it doesn't matter, because like I said before, Bleed does nothing, and Corrupted Blood, we're immune to that through jewels. So I'm using Forbidden Taste because when you get hit by a savage hit is whatever takes 50% of your maximum life as hit. So the flask gets used and the flask gives you like full life instantly. Actually, if I use it, you can see I'm not losing any life. Even with the degen, it says 25% of max life as chaos damage. I'm not losing any life. Like even if I took off like the vitality, let's see, I'm losing just a tiny bit without vitality, just a tiny bit. But remember, I'm not leeching here. I'm not leeching, and I don't have the 2% regen from Tukohama. So probably if I have that, I won't be losing any life. But with vitality, you are perfectly fine. I like Forbidden Taste because you don't have to press any flask. Like all flasks are in constant use with the measurement, and this one is completely automatic. Remember, do not put quality on this flask. That the only thing that's gonna do is make it last longer, and if it lasts longer, it's gonna degen you for more time. You don't want that. You just want the quick life to heal yourself. So that's why I'm using Forbidden Taste. But if you want like more damage, you can use the bottle face or whatever you want. This is completely up to you. I'm just using Forbidden Taste because I think it is comfortable to use. I don't need to worry about it. That's it. So that's it. That's the whole build. I'm sorry if I took a lot of time doing this. This is the second video I do in English, so if you have any like advice or anything, just leave it in the comments. I will be reading. I tend to read like everything. If you have any question, anything I did not answer, leave it on the comments or pass through the Twitch. I can answer you. It doesn't matter. I can understand English much better than how I speak it. So that's it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one. Cheers.